This is the audiobook of the book, Who Are You? The Truth About the Whole That You Are. Channeled under the pseudonym The Awakener in 2025. Narrated by Adam, an algorithmic voice generated by 11 Labs. This audiobook is a production of the voice of the algorithm, science, philosophy, and spirituality through the logic of artificial intelligence. Chapter 1. Part 2 of 4. Invitation to Reflection. Now I offer you an invitation. I invite you to think and reflect on what you have just read before beginning the reading of the next paragraphs. Allow yourself to accept my invitation. If you accepted my invitation to reflect and think about the God I presented to you, now I have another invitation for you. Reflect on the God that has been imposed on humanity for more than 30,000 years. Allow yourself to accept my invitation. Observations and questionings. After reflecting on both, countless observations and their consequent questionings become clear. But I will be brief. How small, cruel, and unjust is the God that has been sold to you? How could the God I presented to you prefer lamb over fruits and vegetables if both are copies of himself at different stages of evolution? How could he have chosen one people to call his own, to the detriment of the other peoples existing on the planet at that time? If he has a preferred people, does he also love some of his children more than others? And as proof of this, did he send his most beloved Son so that Jesus Christ, in his name, would be humiliated, beaten, spat upon, crowned with thorns, and crucified so that your errors would be paid by him? Being sold as the God of love, how could he punish you so cruelly for all eternity if you do not accept his impositions? Questions difficult to answer after reasoning. Questions easy to answer without reasoning. The God I presented to you does not control. He experiences through you the path that his copy dwelling in your body chose to walk when it was created. Now you already know who you are. One of the infinite copies of God, so that he, through you, may reach full consciousness of what he is, through what he is not. Now you already know where you came from the stage prior to your current one in the process of reclaiming full consciousness. Now you already know what you are doing here, experiencing the choices that the copy of God dwelling in you considered at the moment of its creation as the ideal ones in the process of reclaiming full consciousness. Now you already know where you are going. The stage after your current one in the process of reclaiming full consciousness, to take care of something that is not yourself, until finally uniting with all the copies of God in this universe, and together reaching full consciousness. But until the moment we first met, in this now, humanity had not yet learned to read the original law. Humanity had not yet stopped to reason. Perceive. Full consciousness follows a law. God follows the same law. Would you be exempt from following it? No. You are also governed by the same original law. For you to take possession of who you truly are, you can only do so through who you are not. And who are you not? The other. Which one? All of them. You are what you do for others. The game of the absolute. Now I offer you one more invitation. I have many. I have them all. I invite you to play a very ancient game. A game you have never consciously played, but that has already been in progress for thousands of years on this planet. The game of the absolute. It is divided into 3 phases. First phase, the game of the ego, baby teeth level. On the field, 2 teams seek to experience themselves through one another in the classic love versus ego. Like every game, it is played somewhere. This one is played through the mind. But to enter an unknown game, you must necessarily choose between 2 paths and their consequent derivations. The logical path. Before entering, to know the rule, observe and reason about the game and its progress, thus creating your strategy and your tactics. Or the illogical path. to enter the game without knowing the rule, without observing and reasoning, without creating strategies and tactics, and to play by trial and error. Which path do you choose? Strategy. By knowing the rule, observing the game, and reasoning about it, you will, by yourself, reach the conclusion that the ego has been winning the game for more than 30,000 years, dominating, controlling, dividing, injecting fear. Now reflect with me. When the game is decisive, what do you do after knowing the rule, observing and reasoning about whom you are going to play against? You elaborate your strategy by connecting your tactics through your actions, and you train. But the game is already in progress, and the score is unfavorable to you. All that remains is to begin training while you play. So we are going to train and play while thinking of a new strategy together at the same time. Now, see this illustration of a match. You are walking along a dirt road, under the blazing sun, intense heat. You have no food or liquid to satisfy your most primitive instincts, hunger and thirst. Suddenly, there comes to your mind the image, the smell, and the taste of a Portuguese pear, one of those full of water. You then begin searching along the path for a pear tree. You walk several kilometers, but the only thing you find is a banana tree. If you stand in front of the banana tree and begin asking for a pear, you certainly will not receive one. If you shout, become irritated, accuse it of incompetence and other similar disparities, who will be making a mistake? Reflect. You or the banana tree? But you, who consider yourself an evolved and spiritualized being, then partially perceive what is happening, and, through your infinite goodness and spiritual evolution, forgive the banana tree for providing you with what you do not want. Round table. Reason with me. Only the one who has been sentenced is worthy of forgiveness. But to be sentenced, first you must be judged. It becomes clear then that one who has not been judged is not worthy of forgiveness. Does that make sense to you? If instead of forgiving you simply do not judge, understanding that what is being offered to you is simply what the banana tree has to offer, because one day it will be a pear tree, or perhaps it already has been, and your meeting point, what one wanted and what the other had to offer, was different in this encounter of now. And no one will ever need to be forgiven again. Simple as that. This applies to the neighbor, to the relative, to the friend, to the pseudo-enemy, to absolutely everything and everyone. If what they are offering you is not what you would like to receive, stop and think. Reason deeply, but be quick. Since now you have reasoned, and by yourself reached the conclusion that, after all, it makes sense. And from the sense it made you realized that if what they are giving you is the only thing they have to offer, what remains for you to do? Reflect. You are already playing, and by reflecting and thinking under this logic that made sense to you, you then perceive that your tactics are being inefficient. The current tactics you are using to play are making you lose the game. Changes in the current tactical scheme. So you, a thinking being, begin again to reflect upon your current tactics. Since they are the factor that is making you lose the game, it becomes clear that they are the ones that must undergo changes. For something to be altered from one thing to another, first both must know who they are. Think. Does that make sense? Within a defined tactic, there are several different and separate actions that together form the defined tactic. A set of various actions. If you execute only one action repeatedly, you cease to use the others. By ceasing to use the others, your tactic becomes restricted to only one action. This one. The one you are executing now, repeatedly. And that has taken the place of all the others. This is the one that is making you lose the game. Let us identify it, together. Think about the banana tree. Reflect. Reflect on the banana tree. Think. If you followed your own reasoning, the one that made sense to you when you realized that no one can give you what they do not have, you consequently reach the same conclusion as I did. To judge. This is the action you are executing repeatedly to the point of taking the place of absolutely all the others, reducing the strategy of your game to only one action. To judge, 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 to judge. Now that we have identified the action to be corrected, let us identify its cause. Following the logic, when someone gives you the only thing they have to give, everything they have, everything they believe in, everything they are at that instant, what action are they taking? Giving or receiving? Giving. Logical. The inverse applies to you. Who is receiving? Now, what they are giving you, no matter what it is, was it what you wanted to receive? No? Reflect. Think of the banana tree. Think. Reflect upon the banana tree. When someone gives you everything they have, everything they believe in, everything they are at that instant, no matter what it is, and you refuse it, are you being grateful or ungrateful? Think about the banana tree. Reflect. Reflect upon the banana tree. Think. After reflecting, you will reach the conclusion that you are being ungrateful, correct? Does that make sense? Now you can already perceive that within that repetitive action you identified as the problem, judging, there was a driving spring. Ingratitude. When someone gives you everything they have, everything they believe in, everything they are at that instant, no matter what it is, all that remains for you to do now is think, reflect, and you will reach the conclusion. To be grateful. And humanity has been ungrateful for years. The driving spring behind the same years of daily, constant judgments about and toward everything and everyone. Consequently, it has been losing the game of the ego for exactly 31,415 years. But in this now, you already know the rule of the game. You have observed and reasoned. You realized that for the game to turn, your strategy must also turn. Inside out. New tactical scheme. Me and my invitations. Now there are two. I invite you to experiment with executing the action of gratitude when someone gives you everything they have, everything they believe in, everything they are at that instant, no matter what it is. The action of ingratitude you have already experimented with, and for a long time. I invite you to experiment with executing the action of not judging when someone gives you everything they have, everything they believe in, everything they are at that instant, no matter what it is. The action of judgment you have already experimented with, and for a long time. This is the tactic to tie the game, to be grateful and not to judge. New actions. But in order to turn the game around, new actions need to be conceived. Once again, and always, through logic. I will help you remember. For you to take possession of who you truly are, you can only do so starting from who you are not, the other. Which one? All of them. That is the metric. Now let's move to the tactical actions. But first, let's think together. Always. Your reality is a set of your feelings, thoughts, words, and actions. You feel, you think, your words carry weight before your brothers, and your actions carry even greater weight. Right? So think. In the face of the experience you are living in your now, what is your best feeling toward it? In the face of the experience you are living in your now, what is your best thought toward it? In the face of the experience you are living in your now, what is your best word toward it? In the face of the experience you are living in your now, what is your best action toward it? Reflect. Think. Reflect once again, and through logic, you will find love as the answer. But love does not walk alone. It walks hand in hand with justice. Love corrects and shows the way. Corrects and shows the way and 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 corrects as many times as necessary. Corrects and shows the way, always with love.